What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and it's so good to see you. Welcome to Rehab Christian Center live Tuesday night virtual life study experience. That was a mouthful, but I am glad to see you tonight and just grateful, excited about this series. What a powerful series this series has been, Becoming, and this is part 2. And tonight we are talking about, or from the subject, Be Whole. Remember last week I shared with you that there is a process you go through from as you shift from becoming to being. And last week we really broke that down in a very tangible, practical way. If you have not seen that video, go back and watch the replay from last Tuesday. You can find it on our archives, Instagram and YouTube, as well as Facebook. Go back and check out last week's message on that process of setting the foundation from becoming to being. And now we are shifting to the be part of the series. And from here on out, we're going to be talking about being things. And so tonight we're dealing with be whole, and it's going to be heavy. I'm excited. I'm ready to share it with you. So before we do it, I need you to start tagging people. I need you to start getting people on the line. I need you to start sharing this video, this live feed. Tell people to tune in now. We are excited to be here, and I'm ready to share this message. And I'm going to do it in 35-40 minutes, and I'm going to be out of your way. But I got a lot I got to get through tonight. This is a very powerful message. This could easily be 2 weeks. When we talk about being whole, could easily be 2 weeks, because there's some heavy things that I want to share with you that I believe are going to challenge you and stretch you in a significant way. And I'm excited to do that. So good evening. Let's go through the channels. Let's do all of that stuff real fast. Facebook, good. I was about to say good morning. Good evening to you. It's good to see you virtually. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuned in via Facebook, do me a favor. I want you to hit that like button, hold it down, turn it to a love button. I want you to hit that share button. Share this video to your page. I need you to tag 5 people and tell them to get up from what they're doing or continue to do what they're doing. Tune in now to virtual life study. This is going to be a very powerful 35-40 minutes. Cannot wait to share it. So I need you to start tagging people and sharing this video right now. All right. This is going to be powerful, man. I can't wait. I'm ready. Ready to get into this. All right. So tag 5 people, Facebook, if you're on. Also, if you're tuned in Facebook, make sure you say good evening in the chat box, chat area. We would certainly love to see that while we can see comments before we teach. And so good evening to you. And thank you so much for tuning in. Instagram, good evening to you. Instagram is my late church, but they'll be here. It's good to see you virtually Instagram. Those of you that are tuned in, those of you that are watching the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor, hit that little paper airplane that's in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Hit that button, and I want you to tag 5 of your friends right now and tell them to tune into this broadcast. It's going to be powerful, and I'm excited to share this message with you tonight. Be whole. It's going to be powerful. We're going to deal with some stuff tonight that's going to be heavy, and I'm excited to share this with you. So good evening to you, Instagram. Fill it up with hearts if you tune in. If you're watching the replay, make sure you like this video so that we can see that you tuned in, and then go ahead and hit that paper airplane. Tag 5 people. Tell them to tune in. Do it now. YouTube. Good evening to you. It's good to see you virtually. If you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you so much for doing that. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I want you to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us at the REHABCC on YouTube. Do that right away. Subscribe to our channel. And then I need you to share this video, this link. We are talking tonight from the subject, Be Whole. And it's going to be powerful. It's a part of our Becoming series. And I'm going to take about 35 minutes and really take what can be a very complicated topic and really simplify it for you tonight. And it's going to be powerful. And I'm going to give you some nuggets that will help you, I promise you, in a tremendous way. So if you're on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Say hello, say something in the chat area if you're there. And then I want you to hit that share button. If you have not subscribed to our channel, hit that share button, share this video with somebody, tell them to tune in. All right, y'all, I got 7:13. I'm ready to teach. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm going to give you 45 more seconds. If you're tuned in now, I want you to start sharing this video, tagging people quickly. Tell them to tune in to this broadcast. It's going to be powerful. All of that stuff. And I'm grateful for this message tonight. Y'all forgive me. I'm multitasking like crazy. I'm grateful for this message tonight. And this is going to be powerful. This is going to be a powerful message, and I cannot wait to share it with you. And I want you to get ready. I want you to get ready for what we're going to share tonight, because this is going to be something that is life changing. All right, it's going to be life changing. All right, share this video, like this video, love this video. Pastor's not disconnected. He is looking up something really quickly. He's not disconnected, but I need you to share this video really quickly, and I want you to tell somebody to tune in to this message. Be whole. That's what we're dealing with tonight. Let's go ahead and get the subject on the line. If you have not already, type the subject in the comments. You know how we do. We take notes, live notes here. Be whole is the subject that we're dealing with. I want you to type it in the comments now so that we can prepare to walk into this. And let me get out of this screen here. Ooh, I don't like that at all. Ooh, I don't like that at all. That's not good. Let me get out of this screen and let's get to where I need to be. All right. So we're talking tonight from the subject, be whole. All right. Be whole. And again, this is a continuation of what we dealt with last week in the context of shifting from becoming to being. And remember, if you will go back to your notes last week, we talked about becoming being a process. And so anytime you are becoming something, you are on the road from becoming to being. Being doesn't happen before becoming, right? You cannot be before you become. You must become before you be. All right. Again, you cannot be before you become. You must become before you be. Becoming is a process. And again, many people struggle to be because they struggle with the process of becoming, right? And so we really dealt with that in a practical way last week. Pull it up. We ran way over. It was good. Now, this is what I want you to record. There's something I want all of you to look up. I've been doing some reading and research on this, and it's a powerful resource. I want you to look up something called David Hawkins' Scale of Consciousness. All right. I want you to record this. That's a mouthful. David Hawkins, apostrophe, Scale of Consciousness. That's a mouthful. All right. Just Google it. You put it in your personal notes if you don't want to type it in the comments notes, and go back and Google it later. Get his book, David Hawkins' Scale of Consciousness. It is a scale that David Hawkins created that is a scale of 17 emotions that start with shame and that end with enlightenment, right? And so what he suggests, y'all just bear with me. This is the PhD side of my brain. Y'all know I'm an academician. I can't help it. He suggests that there is a scale of 17 emotions that we all experience at any given time. All right. Very good, Elder Mystic. There's a scale of 17 emotions that we all experience at any given time that start with shame. That's the lowest. He says shame is your lowest emotion you can feel. And it goes up to your highest emotion called enlightenment, right? And one of the things that I got from this that I want to share with you, and I want you to record this, is your very first bullet point tonight. This is important. We're going to connect this to being whole. It's going to make sense. Y'all bear with me. One of the things that I noticed in reading his book and going through his book and really thinking about his book is this. Every emotion you experience has value. This is going to make so much good sense. I was going to say this for my YouTube, but I just couldn't resist tonight to incorporate this into this. Every emotion you experience has value. Every single emotion you experience, from shame, like if you go up his scale, it's shame, and then it's guilt. Oh gosh, shame, it's guilt, and then it's apathy, and it's grief, and it's fear, and then it's desire, and it's anger, right? It just goes up and it works its way up eventually to acceptance and reason and love, joy, peace, and then enlightenment. It's powerful. But what I got out of it was, in the context of what we're dealing with tonight, is every emotion you ever experience has value. And where people mess up is in their sense of, or in their journey to becoming, where they mess up is they discount emotions. They minimize the value of emotions. And in on many occasions, many times, not only do they minimize the value of emotions, they'll discard emotions altogether. And what that does is it does not cause you to be able to function whole. You end up functioning as a part of who you are. And this is important. When you live in a mental or an emotional space where you are ignoring how you feel, ignoring the feelings, the natural, sometimes the self-induced, sometimes the induced by others feelings that you experience on a day-to-day basis. When you ignore those things, you end up living not a whole life, but a part life. Why? Because you try to shut those things down. And in the process of trying to shut those things down or shut those things out, you end up being incomplete. You end up being fragmented, right? Because you're not fully aware of who you are. You're not fully aware of how you feel. You're not fully embracing how you feel in that moment. You are forced in many occasions, or sometimes by choice, to just shut down your feelings because you think you can't feel a certain way, or it's bad to cry, or it's bad to be upset or angry. It's bad to feel frustrated. It's bad to feel guilty. It's bad to feel shame. So you shut all of those negative, what we call negative emotions down. And in the process of doing that, you end up living an incomplete, fragmented life. Now, I'm going to give you an example because all of us have experienced this at some point, and especially us parents have been guilty of this. Have you ever had your kid? Let's see who's going to be honest. Have you ever had your kid get real upset about something, right? And they got real upset about it, and it really bothered them, right? Whatever it was. They got upset about it. It really bothered them. And then you as a parent, or you were a kid growing up, got really upset about something, and it really bothered you. And then your parents, or you as a parent, came in and said, "Oh, you crying? If you don't be quiet, I'm going to give you something to cry about." How many of y'all are guilty? I'm raising my hand. I'm going to admit, Elder Mister, you better be raising both of your hands the way you be treating Terrence. Y'all know I had to pick with Elder Mister. I'm guilty. You crying? You upset? You mad? If you don't be quiet, if you don't suck it up, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. I'm gonna give you something to be mad about, right? But what we don't realize that we're doing, thank you, Elder Misty. what we don't realize that we're doing is that we are subconsciously teaching our kids how to not embrace emotions. We are suggesting to them that being sad is bad. And the only good emotions are the good emotions: peace, joy, love, courage. We're intrinsically teaching them that you suffocate the bad, you embrace the good. And here's the problem with that. When you do that, you create people who don't live whole, they live fragmented. I need some scientists, some academicians on the call tonight. Did y'all hear what I said? When you teach your kids that, when we learn that, you end up growing fragmented and not whole. And this explains, God, this is going to be so good. This explains why so many people struggle with their number one goal for living. Can I help you? Record this. Your number one goal for living should be wholeness. I'm going to say it again. Your number one goal for living should not be to get a man. It should not be to be booed up and have a hot girl summer. Your number one goal for wholeness, for living, should be wholeness. Your number one desire for living should not be to have a hot girl summer, hot boy summer, to get a mate, to be a millionaire, to be rich, to have 15 passport stamps. Your number one of love. There is an intrinsic connection between being whole and being fully aware of the power of love. I can give you all kinds of Bible verses on this. Timothy says, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, the power to overcome fear, love, the ability to live whole, and a clear mind. So when you are living whole, you are living in the essence of complete love. God, this is good. Watch this. And people who are living broken lives are living broken lives because fear is driving them and not love. The same fear that your parents instilled that said, if you cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about. It's the same fear that then gets translated into our lives when we don't embrace negative emotions that come upon us that really aren't trying to hurt us, but are trying to develop us and teach us and mature us so we can become whole. Because here's the reality. And this is one of my journals, of course, but I've got that Hawkins chart in the front of my journal here. Let me tell you something about this Hawkins chart here. Here's the reality. When you go through all of these things, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, I'm walking up the scale. Remember, he said shame is the lowest form of an emotion you can feel, right? He says the highest form of emotion you can feel is enlightenment. So listen, when you walk up the scale, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. By the time you get from shame to enlightenment, you will have experienced every emotion on the scale. Here's the key. If you can overcome all of those emotions, you can be whole. I'm about to run out of here. Pastor, what you getting at? People are living partial, fragmented lives. They're not living whole because when they get to an emotion that's too much, they run. When they get to an emotion that's too much, they get afraid. When they get to an emotion that's too much, they quit. When they get to an emotion that is too much, they give up. When they get to an emotion that's that's too hard, they walk away. When they get to an emotion that's too hard, they throw in the towel. And you don't realize that every emotion on the scale is actually walking together to make you whole. Because if you can operate and move from shame to enlightenment, you will have covered fear, you will have covered guilt, you will have covered anger, you will have covered all of these other emotions in between that eventually make you whole. And this is important because when you end up in relationships and you're not whole and you're partial and you're fragmented and you partial and they partial and y'all have not worked through these emotions, or you haven't not personally worked through these emotions yourself and learn how to overcome these emotions to become a whole being, two partial fragmented people end up in broken situations. I wish I had some help on this live tonight. Are y'all listening to me? Let me give you Bible. 1 John chapter 4, verse 18. New Living Translation. Would you get it for me quickly? This blessing anybody? Y'all need to be tagging people. Come on. We need to get more people to life study. Hurry. Would you just tag somebody right now? Tell them they might want to get in on this. Because I'm getting ready to make this make sense. And I'm about to give you 2 layers of love that lead to wholeness. And it comes from 1 John chapter 4, verse 18. I'm going to give you 2 layers of love that will make you whole. Because I'm telling you, if you try to live a life partial, fragmented, broken, you're going to get halfway results. I don't care if that's pursuing your career goal. I don't care if that's pursuing, some of y'all don't need to be in relationships right now. Hello? This thing on? Some of y'all, in the words of the great Bishop Roy Morrison, hello? Is this thing on? Some of y'all don't need to be in relationships right now because you're broken. You partial. You are partial. And I'm here to tell you, whole people can't complete you. Whole people will break you even further. If a whole person connects with a partial person, the whole person can be swallowed by the partial person. Or, here we go, the person that's partial, if they're strong enough, can actually break down the wholeness in the whole person. You got to be careful here. So if you ain't whole, you don't need to be in a relationship. If you're not whole, there's certain business ventures and career plans, and you need to pause right now and get whole first. Because I'm telling you, if you're partial and you ain't supervising nobody, if you become a supervisor and you're not whole, them employees that you manage are going to run you ragged. Get whole first. And I'm going to give you 2 layers of love that lead to wholeness, because love is the answer. Love is the key to moving from being partial to living a whole life, to living a wholesome life, right? To living and saying, I am whole. Watch this. 1 John chapter 4, verse number 18. Can y'all hear me clearly? New Living Translation. Are y'all listening? Fill it up with hearts if you are. 1 John chapter 4, verse 18. Look at this. It says this. Man, I couldn't wait to get to the night. Look at this. There is no fear in love. Watch. But perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. Go back to the example. I'm going to read it again. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. Go back to the example. You tell your kids, I'm guilty. I got one sitting here looking at me now. I have to hear about this and answer questions about this when this is over. You tell your kids, stop crying, shut up, or I'm going to give you something to cry about. You don't realize, Lord Jesus, damn y'all, I'm teaching this to my kids right here. I'm going to have to explain this and go back and apologize to him because of y'all. You are teaching your kid not perfect love, but you're teaching them fear. And the fear that you're teaching them is not making them whole, it's making them partial. Listen to me. And we take this and translate it into our lives. Now watch this. Look at the word perfect in the Greek, and it doesn't mean perfection. The word perfect in the Greek means whole, entire, lacking nothing. So let's go back and read the verse. I'm giving y'all basic Bible tonight. There is no fear in love, but whole love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made whole in love. I'm going to read again because y'all not catching this. There is no fear in love, but whole love, entire love, lacking nothing love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. Be quiet, I'm going to give you something to cry about, right? Punishment. The one who fears is not made whole, entire, lacking nothing in love. Watch this. What makes you whole is love. And love will always eliminate brokenness. I want you to record that. What makes you whole is love. And love will always eliminate brokenness. Okay? What makes you whole, or what makes you perfect, in the context of the verse, what makes you whole is love. And love will always eliminate brokenness. In other words, as you go up this scale of emotions, you feel guilt, you feel shame, you feel anger, you feel resentment, you feel pride, you feel desire, you feel fear, you feel grief, you feel these bad emotions. As you feel those things, the antidote to moving up the scale is love. Because anytime love collides with shame, shame has to be corrected. Can I run, y'all? Y'all mind? Would y'all talk about me if I got up and just started running through my house? I'm feeling like my daddy right now. Would y'all talk about me if I got up and started running? To combat guilt, address it with love. Everything on this scale can be corrected with love. And so when you address emotions with fear, what ends up happening is punishment, torment, anxiety. Some of you have anxiety issues because you address these emotions with fear. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying not to get too psychological on some of you spiritual deep folk. This is the only way. This is the way God gave it to me. Some of you have anxiety because when you feel fear, you don't address fear with love. God has not given us a spirit of fear. You address fear with anxiety, with worry, with shame, with angst. And what that does is it keeps you broken. It keeps you partial. Watch this. There are 2 layers of love that lead to wholeness. You ready? The first layer is this. The first layer of love that leads to wholeness is self-love. The first layer of love that leads to wholeness. There are 2 layers that leads to wholeness. The first layer, self-love. When you love yourself, it don't matter what people think about you. It doesn't matter how circumstances come at you. It doesn't matter what situations or predicaments find you. When you love yourself, it will never matter what others think of you, because you will be challenged to correct the thoughts you have about yourself. In other words, when you're feeling guilt about something, your tapping into self-love will not cause you to lean on other people for validation. Won't cause you to lean on other people to feel better about where you are. Won't cause you to lean on other people to feel better about what you're dealing with. When you really love you, you learn how to lean on you until things get better. Good God from Zion. Did y'all hear what I said? When you really love you, you learn how to lean on you until things get better. Somebody need to write that down. That'll make you dance and holler. When you really love you, you learn how to lean on you until things get better. I know. So we sing the song and we bop like Ray Charles, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. But I think it won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on or something like that. It sounds great. It makes for good kumbaya music. But the reality is, when you love you, you learn how to lean on you until you start moving up this scale. I'm trying to help y'all. See, I've been on this 28-day journey, and it's been powerful because this scale is really something that I've been personally dealing with, and it's powerful. You know, sometimes when you're dealing with things, or you're trying to figure some things out, and you're just floating through life, and you're trying to make some things happen and dealing with some things, it is easy to lean on people for comfort, and lean on people for validation, and lean on people for, hey, you're gonna make it, and pat you on the back. And that's great, and it's got its place. But the reality is, none of that matters until you first learn how to love yourself up this scale. If you feel guilt about something, you got to learn how to love your way up, so you can move from guilt to apathy, so you can move from apathy to grief, from grief to fear, from fear to desire, from desire to anger, pride, and keep on going to eventually you end up in enlightenment. And the only thing that moves you up is the scale. And you can't depend on love from nobody else until you first love you. And see, that's the problem. Go back to the partial thing. People who don't fully love them and are not whole, when you try to love other people and you ain't whole, you can only help them to a certain extent, because you don't have all the self-love you need to be able to help love them. I'm trying to help y'all tonight. We're talking about being whole. And when you are whole, it is easier to love other people because you first love yourself. When you are whole, it is easier to love other people because you first love yourself. And the reality is, some of y'all have accused other people of not loving you, but what you don't realize is you ain't really fully love you to know whether or not they loved you or not. Is this making sense? You know, some of you have accused people, they didn't really love me, they ain't really love me. Wait a minute, did you really love you yourself? Because the reality is, if you really loved you, then you would be able to fully ascertain that they loved you. But more than that, if you really loved you, it wouldn't matter. Because when you really love you, validation doesn't come from the north, the south, the east, or the west. Validation comes from who you are. And there are a whole lot of broken people looking for validation from whole people. And the reality is, A whole person can't even give a broken person validation. The only way a broken person can get validation is if they understand that the first layer of love that leads to wholeness is learning how to love yourself. Man, this is better than the amount of people that's tuned in tonight. Are y'all listening to the old man? The gray hair. Look at all of this gray in my beard. Good Lord. These kids are running me to death. Look at all this gray. The only way, and Giselle giving me the devil eyes, the only way you're going to move from a partial place to a whole place is self-love. You have to love yourself. Again, it will never matter what others think of you until you challenge and correct your thoughts about yourself. It don't matter what people think about you. You got to change how you feel about you. You got to change your thoughts about your own self. And this whole be quiet or I'm going to give you something to cry about method ain't gonna work. And we all as parents have been guilty. Your uncle, aunt, and got nieces, nephews, grandkids, whatever. You've been probably did the same thing. Shut up and give you something to cry about. That sounds great, but the problem is when you don't give people a chance to deal with their emotions, they never become whole. They never become whole. My mama is calling me a boy and telling me to sit down because I ain't old. Thank you, Mama. I appreciate it. You always gassing me up. I appreciate it. Huh? When you say things like shut up and give something, when we do that, intrinsically, we're saying it's not okay to feel that way. And I'm here to tell you, pull up that scale. I want somebody, my moderators, to type it in the comments again. I want everybody on this call watching the replay or watching live or watching the replay to pull up David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. It's a pretty accurate scale of about 17 emotions that we all experience at one point or another. And the goal of the scale is to stay at the top. It's to stay in enlightenment and peace and joy and love and it's to stay up there and not at the bottom. Shame, guilt, apathy, feeling bad for yourself, grief. Because again, you're going to experience all of these emotions, but what makes you whole is learning how to love your way up the scale, not ignore the scale, not ignore guilt because you feel it, not ignore shame because you feel it. Not ignore feeling down because you feel it. Not ignore fear because you feel it or grief because you feel it, but embracing that and loving your way up the scale. Right? Right? The goal of the scale is exactly right, Ms. Charles. The goal of the scale is to stay at the top. Right? So I want you to look at that. So that's the first layer of love that leads to wholeness. Here's the second layer that leads to wholeness, and I'm done. Right? And again, I don't want you to forget 1 John 4:18, New Living Translation. Right? You'll never look at that verse the same because he ain't talking about perfect love, a perfect love that's flawless. There ain't no such a thing as a perfect love because we're all flawed. He's talking about a whole love. John's talking about a whole love. A whole love drives out fear, drives out anger, drives out pride, drives out desire, drives out guilt, apathy, shame. A whole love drives those things out, right? Here's the second layer of love that leads to wholeness. The first layer says self-love. When I learn how to love myself, I grow up this scale to become whole, right? And again, the goal in life is to be whole. It ain't to be booed up. It ain't to be rich. It's to be whole. Because when you whole, then you begin to pull into your life everything that you desire. And most importantly, when you pull it in, you won't lose it. Because you can pull in a relationship broken. It ain't going to last. It's not going to last. I had to come back to relationships because that makes y'all real mad. I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how fine she is. I don't care if he do that thing. I don't care if she do that thing. If you broken, you might attract them, but you ain't going to keep them. If you're broken, you might attract her, but you're not going to keep her. You got to be whole, right? So the first layer is self-love, becoming whole. Here's the second layer. The second layer of love that leads to wholeness, watch this, is the willingness to trust love. The first layer that leads to wholeness is self-love. The first layer of love that leads to wholeness is self-love. The second layer of love that leads to wholeness is the willingness to trust love. Pastor, what do you mean? Thank you, Sister Erica. They ain't talking to me tonight. I believe I'm too scientific on y'all. Pastor, what do you mean about trusting love? This is what I'm talking about. When you attempt to love others, watch this. You are trusting more in love than those things or people that you love. We're talking about being whole and why many of you struggle to be whole. And it's because you not only don't have self-love, but watch this. You are trusting your love more in people than in love. This is going to sound so crazy. I'm probably not explaining this good. When you love people right, you trust more in love than you trust them. This is not going to make a lot of sense. I got to really explain this why I need to do well here. When you really are loving right, when you are the walking epitome of love, you are trusting more in love than you are in people. And, you know, the closest Bible verse that I can give you is the one that I love to quote, and especially when I'm preaching. Some trust in horses, some trust in chariots. We will remember the name of the Lord. You really look at that verse. What they're saying is you can have your trust in stuff or you honor, but the name of the Lord is stronger than the stuff that you trust in, right? If that's true, and we know it is, and God is love, we made that clear 2 weeks ago. Watch. Then when you love people, you trust more in love than you do those things you love, those people you love. If God is love, then anytime you're saying, I'm trusting in love more than the people I love, more than the things I love, you're really saying, I'm trusting God. I'm just getting too happy. Y'all give me a minute. I'm just breathing. What you're really saying is, I'm trusting in God more than the things that I love, more than the people that I love, which is why people who are whole, who have self-love, people who have self-love, who are whole, watch, can be hurt by people, but they can recover faster because their trust was never in people. Their trust was in love. I quit. I'm going to shut the book. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? When you really trust in the source more than what you love or more than what you connected to, then a love that is whole is also vulnerable. I need y'all to record this. A love that is whole is also vulnerable. Yeah, Erica, that was heavy. A love that is whole is also vulnerable. A person that is whole is also willing to be vulnerable. Why? Because your trust really ain't in people. Your trust is in your wholeness. Because see, when you whole, then you ain't worried about getting hurt. And even if you get hurt, you know you're going to bounce back from that because you whole. Yeah, you're going to feel it. It's going to hurt. Yeah, it's going to hurt for a second. But you know you're going to bounce back from that. Why? Because you're whole. And a love that is whole is also vulnerable. A love that is whole is willing to take a risk. A love that is whole is willing to take a risk. Being vulnerable means you're willing to take a risk. That's what you're saying. I'm whole. I'm willing to take a risk. I'm willing to risk being hurt. I'm willing to risk being possibly ran over. I'm willing to risk possibly being misunderstood. I'm willing to risk possibly being left, walked over. I'm willing to risk all of those things because I am whole enough to love people where they are and understand that perfect, whole love drives out fear. A wholeness drives out the fear of being hurt. I should have made this just a relationship night because it's making sense. A wholeness drives out the fear of what somebody's going to do to you. When you are whole, it drives out the fear of how somebody's going to mistreat you. So the key is not to find somebody. The key is not to link up with somebody. The key is to be whole. Because when you become whole, then you don't worry about that. Because whole love drives out fear. When you try to love broken, you will never feel complete, whole, or worthy. I need you to record that. This is your last bullet point for tonight. When you try to love in a broken way, when you try to live in a broken way, when you try to serve in a broken way, when you try to move up your career in a broken way, when you try to start the business in a broken way, whatever you do, fill in the blank. When you try to live in a broken way, you will never feel complete, whole, or worthy. When you try to live broken, you'll never feel complete, whole, and worthy. There are some people who don't feel worthy, not because they ain't got the ability. There are some people that don't feel worthy because they're broken. Some of you don't feel worthy, not because you don't have the ability to start the business, not because you don't have the ability to go out and finish the degree, not because you don't have the ability to go out and get the man that you desire or have the woman you desire. Some of you feel broken or don't feel worthy because you're broken. And I'm here to tell you, you don't become whole by starting a business. You don't become whole by getting a degree. You don't become whole by laying under a man that makes you feel better. You don't become whole by solving your wounds with another woman. You become whole by becoming whole first. And when you become whole first, then you shift to feeling worthy. So you don't think you deserve what you desire because you're broken. Y'all don't like this, man. This is too heavy for y'all. Y'all, I feel like I'm giving y'all too much to chew tonight. This is way too heavy. See, when you try to live a broken life, when you're living a broken life, you'll never feel complete. You'll always feel like something missing. You will. You'll always feel like there should be more. You'll always feel like you're missing out on something. Not when you whole. When you whole, you ain't missing nothing. You're not missing out on nothing when you're whole. When you're whole and not broken, you never question your worthiness. You don't say stuff like, I don't deserve to have this, or I don't deserve to get the degree. I don't deserve to go back to school. I don't deserve to be happy in a relationship. I don't deserve to have him. I don't deserve to have her. You don't say that stuff when you whole. You say that stuff when you're broken. And just because you broken and said it don't mean it's right. You're saying that through the lens, through a broken lens. And let me tell you the easiest way trying to test this. Have you ever seen ability in somebody who could not see it in themselves? Have you ever told somebody, you know what, you good enough to start the business, and then they hit you with, nah, man, I can't do it. I ain't smart enough. That's a person that's broken. And I'm here to tell you, I don't care how much you say to them, no, you smart enough. I know you. I've seen you solve this problem and do this and do that. You smart enough to handle it. I don't care how much you try to push them, prep them, prime them, encourage them. Let me tell you something. Until they can see it themselves, they will never be whole enough to go start that business. Until they can see their own abilities and get to a space of wholeness, they'll never be complete enough to go start and go back to school and get that degree. I don't care how much potential you see in somebody, ability-wise, until they can see, yes, honey, until they can see their own abilities, they will be so broken that even if you tell them they deserve a good man, they'll never be able to see it because they're too broken to see it. You see, that's what pain will do. That's what hard and difficulties and difficult moments, not dealing with your emotions, will have you walking around feeling like you're not worthy. And you got to deal with those emotions and you address them with love. And when you do, you move up the scale and all of a sudden you're whole. And then all of a sudden you say things like, yeah, I had some experiences, but I deserve to be happy. Yeah, I've gone through some bad seasons, but I deserve to be happy. Yeah, I've done horrible on some jobs in the past, but I deserve to have the dream job. Yeah, I've had some bad relationships in the past and made some bad decisions, but I deserve to be with the whole person, with the entire person. Why? Because I'm whole. And because I'm whole, I'm worthy. Is this making sense to anybody? I'm done, y'all. I'm going to stop my psychology today teaching on y'all because I feel like this was too much for y'all. This bless anybody tonight? I'm telling you, you got to shift to a place of wholeness. Nothing will rock your life more than living a whole life. Now, when you live in a whole life, it don't mean you got all the money you want. When you live in a whole life, it don't mean you got all the happiness you want. When you live in a whole life, it don't mean you live in a dream job. When you got a whole life, it don't mean you got the dream bag or the dream guy or what. It don't mean that. What it means is I'm complete. And baby, when you complete, you start pulling things to you. You don't even have to go look for stuff. Stuff start finding you. Stuff starts looking for you. When you live in a complete whole life, you ain't got to go look for happiness. Happiness finds you. You don't have to go look for opportunities. Opportunities find you. You don't have to go looking for love. Love will find you. And it'll find you in the exact form that you're looking for it in. The key is to be whole. Not partial and pursuing love. Not partial and pursuing the business. Not partial and pursuing the degree. Not partial and pursuing the life change. Not partial and pursuing the mate. Not partial and pursuing the relationship. Not partial and pursuing the change. The key is to be whole. When you're whole, you moved up this scale. David's Hawkins scale of consciousness. You moved up the scale through these emotions. You worked through these emotions. You learned how to become one with these emotions. And you moved up the scale. When you are whole, baby, you are positioned to receive everything you want. And not only when you get it, here's the most important thing. When you're whole, when you get it, you ain't going to lose it. Because it's one thing to receive. It's a whole lot of broken people that's receiving stuff. It's a whole lot of broken people that get more dates than you'll ever get. Trying to help y'all. It's a whole lot of broken people that get more numbers than you'll ever get. It's a whole lot of broken people that go out on more dates and doing more smashing than you'll ever smash. But they broken. And you know what? That stuff is all temporary. When you whole, you'll get numbers that you keep. You'll get relationships that last. You got to be whole first. Why? Because there is no fear in love. But whole love, perfect love, whole love drives out fear. I'm done, y'all. This bless anybody tonight? Man, I can go on this thing right here. I wish I could show y'all my journal right here. Of my notes and stuff, man. Woo! It's some heavy stuff. I could talk about this for days. And I'm going to be doing some things on my personal YouTube channel to talk about some of these things, because as you can hear, some of this stuff is scientific. And I know, religious folks struggle with science. But man, I can't wait. I got to share some of this stuff. I need y'all to make sure you subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. You can find me at Zeb the Third. I'm going to have some videos coming out in the next couple of weeks. I've already been recording a few. I'm going to record more. But let me tell you something, man. Yeah. Whole love cast out fear. And whole love cast out all of these negative emotions on this scale. And my desire for all of you is to live a whole life. When you live in a whole life, when you feel whole and complete inside, everything changes. Everything changes. And suddenly your validation doesn't come from people, situations, circumstances, predicaments, what's going on. Your validation comes from you. You start feeling worthy because you know you're worthy. You start feeling worthy because you know you whole, you complete. You start feeling worthy because you know you're not walking in fear. Is this making sense to anybody? This bless anybody? Fill it up with hearts. Listen, I want to pray for you. You got a prayer request? Type it quickly. I done ran over again. It's 50 minutes in. I told y'all 35 minutes. I ran over. Yes, Miss Weathers, I'm praying for you. Come on, y'all. You got a prayer request? I want to read it quickly. Really, really quickly. If this message bless you, if you got a prayer request, I want you to type it in the comments quickly. I want to pray for you. If you cannot type your prayer request, email it to info@rehabcc.org. That's info@rehabcc.org. Subject line prayer requests. I've had some powerful prayer requests come in the last couple of weeks. I want you to email your prayer requests. Would you do that for me? info@rehabcc.org. Email your prayer requests. Let me pray for you. Let me pray for your situation. Wow. This was a powerful message. Be whole. Be whole. Can't wait we have no life study next Tuesday. I'm giving you next Tuesday off. It's the last Tuesday of the summer, probably, that you'll have off. We'll be back on our regular schedule every week. Pastor's got one more vacation. So y'all should be happy for me, because I'm happy for me. So no Bible study next Tuesday, but we'll be here Sunday. And so But I can't wait to continue part 3 of this series, because I want you to become everything that you are supposed to be, including whole. I want you to be whole. I want you to be whole. I want you to be perfect, entire, wanting nothing, lacking nothing, missing nothing. And that lack doesn't come external, it comes inside. When you whole, man, when you have moved up that scale, and you've overcome all of those negative emotions, those emotions that we call negative and bad, that are really sometimes fear is anger, is a little bit of anger is good for you sometimes. Fear, a little bit of fear is good for you sometimes. One of the series or messages in the series is going to be courageous, and I want to talk about fear. A little bit of fear is good for you sometimes. Sometimes you got to do some of the stuff you do scared, and even if you're scared, do it anyway. A little bit of fear ain't gonna hurt you. A little bit of anger, a little bit of anxiety, stress, shame, guilt ain't gonna hurt you. Address it with love and move up the scale. Y'all got a prayer request? Y'all ain't typing the prayer request. I think y'all just listened to me tonight. Y'all got a prayer request? I'm giving you 15 seconds. Type it quickly. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and put in your prayer request in the comments. If you're watching the replay tonight, no, Giselle, I don't want a grape while I'm doing live Bible study. Like, whose daughter asking for a grape while you talking? Come on, type in your prayer request. So you got 5 more seconds. Type it in. I want you to clasp your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. We're getting ready to pray really quickly. I'm so sorry. I got 8 o'clock on my clock watch, and I want to go ahead and pray, sow a seed, and get out of here. All right, let's pray. Y'all ready? Connect your hands as a sign of symbol of faith. Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you tonight for your word. Thank you for a timely message on the power of being whole. Tonight, God, we don't want to pursue anything in our lives. We don't want to live in any kind of way in our lives partial. We want to be complete. We want to be perfect, entire, not wanting or lacking anything. And we recognize tonight that it starts inside. It starts with love inside of us. Thank you, God, because perfect love casts out fear, cast out any negative emotion that we could ever experience. And so tonight, God, before I dive into the prayer request, I pray a special prayer to you tonight, that you would give your people, those watching live, those watching the replay, those watching this video shared, that you would give them the strength to address every bad emotion with love, every negative feeling emotion with love, every emotion that feels uncomfortable. Give them the strength to address it with love, so that they can move up this scale of consciousness and eventually become whole and complete and perfect and entire and lacking nothing in their lives. Right now, God, for every prayer request that's come across this line, we speak to those requests now. We ask that you would answer the prayers of your people, that you would make ways like never before, open doors, meet needs as only you can. I ask, God, that you would answer prayers regarding sickness and family, careers, finances, resources, mental health, physical health, whatever the needs are concerning your people. We lift them up to you tonight, God. Why? Because we know you're a way maker. You're a miracle worker. You're a promise keeper. You're the light at the end of a tunnel of darkness. And tonight, God, this week, all through the week, we want you to answer the prayers of your people as only you can. Make ways out of no way. Open doors that have been shut before. And help us to realize and recognize that you're the God that can do everything but fail. We thank you for these things, God. Count this week as a week filled with victory and miracles. We count it done in Jesus' name. Amen. Type in the comments really quickly. It is so. It is so. Really quickly. It is so. Type in the comments really quickly. It is so. What a powerful life study tonight. I'm telling you, if you just tuned in, you better go back and watch the replay. This one was a doozy. This was powerful tonight. What a powerful message and broadcast tonight. Listen, I want to challenge you to give. If this message has blessed you, if this ministry has blessed you, there are 3 ways you can be a blessing back to us. I want to challenge all of you to give tonight. So a special seed to this word tonight. There are 3 ways you can give. You can give via CashAPP, $, REHABCCGIVE. That's $, REHABCCGIVE. You can give through our website, www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org. I almost forgot. And choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWORKS to 88202. Text REHABWORKS to 88202. Text REHABWORKS to 88202. And right to your phone will come a prompt. You can give from that prompt. And I want to challenge you tonight to give. If this message, this ministry has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give. It has been your giving that has helped to sustain us during us being in this all virtual format, and will continue to sustain us as we move forward in whatever capacity that we do. And so again, I want to challenge you to give tonight. If this message, this ministry has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give your offering, give your tithes. If you don't have a ministry to tithe into, give an offering, sow a seed tonight. And I promise you'll be blessed for it. Again, you can give via Cash App, $REHABCCGIVE. That's $REHABCCGIVE. Our website, www.rehabcc.org, and simply choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWORKS to 88202. Text REHABWORKS to 88202. And right to your cell phone, you'll see a number, you'll see a prompt. Click on the prompt, and you can give right from that prompt. And we promise you, God will bless you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. Listen, y'all, I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I want you to have a phenomenal week. Do me a favor, like this video, share this video if you have not already. Subscribe to all of our networks. Instagram, The Rehab Experience, at The Rehab Experience on Instagram, Facebook, The Rehab Christian Center, and YouTube at The Rehab CC. I want you to subscribe to all of our channels. And I want you to make plans to tune in this Sunday, 9:08 a.m. sharp, for a very powerful message that we know is going to bless you in a tremendous way. All right. So make plans to join us. Make sure you share this video. Go back and watch the replay. Let this message really seep down into your spirit and really shift your spirit and shift your energy this week as you really begin to focus on being whole and becoming the best version of you that you can become. And I promise you'll be blessed for it. All right. I'm out of here, y'all. My kids are standing here. I know why, because they want to say, hey, y'all come on real quick. Hurry. Come on. Y'all dying. Come on. You got your do-rag on. You got your braids and one braid missing. Y'all don't worry about that. Come here, son. So Ford got his little do-rag on. He got these little braids in his head, twisting his head, whatever he growing out his head. They want to say, hey, all right, y'all. I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. I'm rooting for y'all. I want you to have a phenomenal week. And don't forget to meet us this Sunday, 9:08 a.m. sharp, right here at the most powerful church on the planet, the nicest church on the planet, the Rehab Christian Center. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Peace and blessings. Have a fantastic week.
For watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful week.